sure the parachute is straight. A lot of times when you go and you skydive and you land, everything gets all jumbled up, either when you carry it back or just when you land, even when you have a lot of jumps. So remember those brake lines, how they go right out to the tail. That's what we're going to be looking for. Put your brake line on your first finger, rear riser, front riser on your ring finger, same thing over here. And we're checking to make sure those brake lines go right out to the tail. Come on over here. Call it a line walk up. Some people call it a line check or a continuity check. You can see your brake lines are on top so far, but bring this finger over from your other hand and find these brake lines on the other side of your slider and make sure it goes right out to the tail of your parachute. A lot of times when you land, something like this happens. If you don't do this line walk up, you might not see this. You gotta do this every time. Brake lines on top, make sure you're grabbing it right too. If you have a twist down here and you're grabbing it, you're gonna be messed up at the top. So make sure it's like it was on your shoulders, toggles on top. You do your line walk up, and you find a great big twist here. If you pack this up, you probably have to cut it away. Not necessarily, you might be able to fly your parachute, but you know your slider might get jammed up at the top or whatever. Fix this before you pack it up. So I just kind of look at this. It looks like everything needs to come back towards me. Easy way to do it, just spread your lines out, grab this whole thing, flip it back through. Let's do another line walk up and make sure we did it right. Around. Keep on walking up so you can't really go any farther. Bring a finger over, find these brake lines, make sure they go right up to the tail. Same thing over here, bring this finger over, isolate these 4 brake lines, make sure it goes right out to the tail. You can have that same kind of twist on the other side of your slider down here. So if you're just in a big hurry and you're like, yep, I'm on top, and you don't check on the other side, you might have that same kind of malfunction going on. Once you know the parachute's straight, just step out to the side, and as you put this up on your shoulder, get this slack out of your lines. You might have some drooping lines or something that look like this. Just pull that slack out, move it towards the parachute here, the canopy, and get this up on your shoulder high enough so you can reach down here and pack it. Right now we've got one side here with a label, one side over here with a label, tail, center seam right here. The nose is against my body. That's where we're going to start. Start with our 9 cells on the nose. I want to get all the material pulled to the outside and all the lines in the middle. So we're going to call this one cell number 1 on this end cell next to this label. We're going to call this one cell number 9 next to this end cell. And I'm going to take it and turn it for a second so I can get it number 1 here and work my way across to number 9. So when you're doing these, I kind of aim for this middle part where you have the division there. And you got 1, just pull them out. 2, 8, and 9. So now I've got the whole front of my parachute here in my hand. You can see it started to line up your A lines for you. So now you take this, turn everything back straight to where you have a label over here and a label on this side, and put this right up in between your legs and squeeze that together. Make sure this is high enough so you can reach down here and pack it. My next move is I use this slider to find the middle. This way I know all these lines that go through these grommets go over here, and all these lines go over on this side. If you have one of these lines over on this side, it's going to be confusing. So always know where the middle of your parachute is, and you can just use that slider to find that. So find the middle, and then push your slider up on your shoulder. We'll do this side first. First move is to find the A-lines. The A-lines are connected to the nose, and the nose is in between my legs. So it's going to be 5 lines on each side. We're just doing this side right now. Got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Kind of already grouped together because when you lined up your nose, they all became stacked. So hold all your other lines here. Let your A lines just hang out right there in the middle, and use this hand to kind of pull this material out. On the inside, you're going from here to here. On the outside, kind of looks like this. You get this fold here of material. But you want your lines in the middle, material to the outside. Then that's going to line up your next line set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put those 5 lines, your B lines, right here, stack them on top of your A lines, hold all your other lines in this hand, and flake out in between your B lines and the rest of them. That's going to line up your next set. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Put these C lines right here, just stack them on top of your other ones. Make the long reach here in between your C lines and D lines, or the rest of it. And now hold your D lines and your steering lines right here in the middle where you want them, and flake your tail out. You just keep following this double stitched seam around. Lines in the middle, material to the outside. I gotta take a step forward. These are called your slider stops. They stop your slider from getting all jammed up on your canopy on opening. They like to do things like this when you're packing. Just pop those out of there. Lines in the middle, material to the outside, and then go to the next side. So find your 5 A lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I know they're my A lines because they're connected to the nose, and that's right there in between my legs. So here, hold all the other lines, move this material. I like to hook my finger back around once I get my hand down here, grab back a hold of those A lines so you keep them right there in the middle instead of pulling them out like this. And find your next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to go in between the B lines and the rest of it. Come over here a little farther and you can see better. So in between your B lines, C lines. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 C lines. Here's your long reach. Most of the time you can just go in there with one swipe and take care of it with one deal. Some other times you'll have to go in here and kind of straighten them all out. But all the way to the middle, hold your D lines and steering lines here, flake your tail out. So to review, you got 1, 2, 3 is your long reach, and then flake out your tail. Same thing over here. 1 is A's and B's, 2's is B's and C's, 3 C's and D's. Then your tail. Make sure your slider stops are out. Make sure all your lines are in the middle. Bring your slider down. Some people say quarter your slider, or set your slider. But go all 4 directions with this. Push it down as far as it'll go. Front and the back, and then reach down here to your tail, kind of work your way over, find that center seam, bring that right up around your lines here, keep that center seam right on the middle, and I squeeze it at the top here, pinch it at those lines, and bring this side of the tail around and this side, then come around to the back over here. I let go with my legs. I have something that looks like this. Take your nose and just push it in slightly so it all stays together right there. Make sure your slider's nice and straight. And then I do this move where I kind of stick my finger in the middle and grab the two sides of the tail with my thumb and middle finger. Kind of match these two sides up. You have this seam right here, make sure it's lining up. Seam down there. If it doesn't, just go back to the top. Put this center seam right there on your lines, and it'll start to line up for you. Don't grab any of the stuff on the inside. You just want to use this tail here. And I put about 3 or 4 twists on it. Sometimes you have to go back to the top and kind of redo it. But only put those twists on the tail so when you lay it down, it stays together. So here, keep a hold of the top here. Push the bottom out, kind of get out of the way. And set down. Try to keep your line straight. Try to keep this center seam in the middle when you lay it down. But let's say you lay it down and it looks like that. Not a big deal. Come back to your container here. This way you pull evenly on both sides with these risers. And you can straighten that right out. If you try to fix it up at the parachute, you'll turn it into a mess up there. So now, we just have to get the air out of there, fold it up, put it in this black bag. So here, I put my knees right down on those lines, got them in the middle, I want them to stay there, and watch your feet, don't kick your lines around. And then to get the air out of here, you just kind of give it a hug and chicken wing. And then don't twist the sides up because you have your lines and stuff right here, you can feel them. Just push this stuff together to reduce the size. So just kind of push the sides in, squeeze the air out, push the sides in, squeeze the air out until you get it about the size of this black bag here. Once we do that, I'm going to come off to the back and make the first fold. It goes like this. Grab a hold. You can feel these slider grommets in here. Grab a hold of that so it doesn't come undone. And with your other hand, about 6 or 7 inches above the warning label, karate chop it and bring these grommets up and set them back down flat right there in the middle. You got this center seam, just line it up with your other center seam there. And then get on here with your knees to hold this down. We got to get the air out of here again. Try to get it about the size of that black bag. So I'll kind of push this side in, lift my leg up, push this side in, squeeze the air out. And this time, get your hand around the back where it's squeezing together on both sides. It can't grow too much on you. I got the palm of my hand on this side and my fingertips kind of on this side over here, squeezing it together. About right here on the other side. And then with your other hand, hold your first fold down. And then you're going to pull back this way. Then once you get about halfway, you can take your left hand out. Keep squeezing with your right hand while you push this forward. Don't tuck this in. These are called your ears. There's no lines up here. You can just kind of squeeze the air out and tuck that under. Same thing over here, but not your bridle. And now, you got to keep something on here. It's going to come undone. I just use my forearm or forearms. Get your bag set up with these grommets across the bottom here like that. So my first move is I'm going to get this corner of the bag under my knee back here. Take this, slide that under, put your knee right down on the corner of that bag, put it in a little bit, but the real shoving comes right now. Make sure your knee's on it good over here. Get this fat fold right here, pop it in there. Now you can get your knee on this corner of the bag and work the top in. If your ears come undone, it's no big deal, just tuck them back in. Keep this center seam in the middle. That's about as far as we're going to get it from there. So I come off to the side and I turn it up like this so I can get on here. I'm squeezing together with my legs. This way you kind of have the ground working with you. You can get it down in there all the way. We want to see a fold on the top, fold on the bottom, lines in the middle. If it comes unfolded on you when you're trying to put it into this black bag, take it back out, straighten it out, and try it again. So here, we're going to start stowing our lines. Start with one of the inside ones here. It doesn't matter which one. I always go for the one that's farther away from me so I can get on here and squeeze together with my legs. Give yourself a good bite of rubber band that you can get through the grommet and grab a hold of. Then get your fingers through here. I use 3 of them, and I get them all the way through there so you can use them. If you just do it a little bit, you don't have any strength. So get them through there, and then when you're stowing these lines, pull the slack, pull your lines this way. Work any kind of slack that you might have away from the container. So here, I just grab my lines and then use my finger to pull that rubber band over. That way I can keep a hold of these lines and make a nice neat stow. Same thing on this side. Give yourself a good bite of rubber band that you can get through there and grab a hold of. Get your fingers through here, grab a hold of your lines, and just pull that rubber band around. You're going to have little bits